What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I want to welcome all of the people that are in our Zoom room, and as you come on in, if you haven't already, let us know where you are geographically, and welcome. I also want to welcome everybody who's watching on the different Facebook channels. A big thank you to John and Summer Raymer for getting us out over 100 different Facebook groups and pages. And of course, a big welcome to all of you watching on Unify from all over the world. That's one of the things that's really exciting about our Unify friends. You know, it's going to be one of those shows where we're going to have a whole Q&A period with relationship coaches. And so I'll do my best to track what's going on Facebook, but it's really best to come on into our Zoom room. And it's really easy if you're watching on Facebook or on one of the YouTube channels. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, and register. You'll get the links to all of our shows for the next 3 months. We do the Awakening World every Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday. And we take a topic and we explore it thoroughly. And this weekend, our topic is relationships. You know, I think with the war in Europe and just what's going on in our world, most of us really want peace. More than ever, we want peace in the world. Well, it has been said many times by many great teachers, if you really want peace in the world, create peace in your life, peace in your relationships. Another way of looking at it is if you want to change your life, change your relationships. So I decided that I wanted to dedicate this new spring season, spring of 2022, to relationships and how we can really improve our relationships. Even if you take a look at the Awakening World, what is our little catchphrase? Uplifting our relationships with each other and with the earth. And tonight you're going to have a chance to meet some of my absolute favorite master relationship coaches. And they're of different walks in life, they're of different ages, they're even from different parts of the world. But they are all masterful and dedicated to studying how can we improve our relationships. And so tonight we're going to learn tips, tools, and practices from some great relationship coaches. And we're also going to have great music. We have 3 amazing musical artists. So it's going to be a wonderful show. Kick back, join us, come on into the Zoom room if you can, and start giving us what your questions are about relationship, any relationship, family, friends, workmates, lovers. Give us your questions. We'll do our best to address them. And let me tell you a little bit about who we have. We're collaborating with my very good friend, Steve Rowland. He is the co-founder of RelationFlix, which is a dynamic new platform that just came out. We're going to learn all about RelationFlix tonight. And it's a wonderful platform with all these many of the coaches you're going to meet tonight, videos that you can watch that answer all your questions about relationship. He's putting me out of business because you don't need to hire coaches anymore. You just go to his platform and it's got like every possible question you can imagine. And we'll take a look at that. And Stephen's wonderful partner is Dolphin. And so I'm going to add Dolphin to the mix here. And these two guys, they're both up in Canada, but they have assembled an incredible group of coaches and they are very wise themselves. So we're going to be hearing from both of them. So welcome, guys, and thank you again for what you've created with RelationFlix. We also are going to hear from somebody who does double duty. This is Paul Sterling. He is part of Love Coach Academy. He's a big part of RelationFlix. He is the author of Argue Less, Love More, best-selling book, and a great master teacher. So welcome. Good to have you with us. Somebody that I met through RelationFlix who is brilliant is Rica Briones. She really talks about some of the hardest stuff that we might cope with in our lives. And she does it with so much wisdom and so much love. And so I'm delighted that she's back with us again. Welcome, Rica. And coming to us all the way from down under is a new friend. This is Damien from Byron Bay. And he is going to share some of his wisdom with us. So welcome. You know, we always have great music on this show, but when I'm introducing Michaela, you recognize her. You've seen her on my show before. And Michaela is going to do double duty. She is truly wise in how to manage relationships. So we're going to get to hear her wisdom, and we also get to hear that beautiful voice of hers, both speaking and in song. So welcome, Michaela. So grateful to have you with us.
Thank you, my darling.
And also, we just met her, and since she has come bursting onto the Global Peace Tribe scene, this is Tatiana Speed, and she creates beautiful videos, beautiful music, and we'll get a little of each. She's going to sing live for us and also share her brand new video all about relationship. So welcome, Tatiana. It's great to have you with us. And then finally, Mystical Joyride. And we met these guys when we collaborated with Soul Play Festival, and they are awesome. They are as colorful and as mystical and as dynamic as you see. And I'm just going to keep the spotlight on all of you because we always like to start our show with dynamic music, and it doesn't get more dynamic than Mystical Joyride. So take it away.
টিপিরি পিশয় ছবে আছে খয় টিপিরি পিশয় ছবে আছে খয়
চাবি নিয়ে মন বন্ধু থাকো দূরে উথালি পাথালি মন পথ চেয়ে রয়ে এই যে বিষম পিরিতি পিরি
টিপিরি পিশয়
বন্ধ মনের তালা
ছবে আছে খয়
এই যে বিষম পিরিতি পিরি
টিপিরি পিশয়
বন্ধ মনের তালা
ছবে আছে খয়
জলে শুধু
টিকি টিকি
জল দিলে নেভে না
হলো একই
অন্তরে জলে শুধু
টিকি টিকি
জল দিলে নেভে না
হলো একই
আমি কইতেও পারি না সইতেও পারি না শুধু জানি একদিন আসবে গো সই তাই তো পথ পানে চেয়ে রই
টিপিরি পিশয়
বন্ধ মনের তালা
ছবে আছে খয়
যে বিষম পিরিতি
টিপিরি পিশয়
বন্ধ মনের তালা
ছবে আছে খয়
ছবি নিয়ে মন বন্ধু থাকো দূরে উথালি পাথালি মন কত চেয়ে রয়ে ওই
Atakatina
এই যে বিষম পিরিতি পিরি
টিপিরি পিশয়
বন্ধ মনের তালা
ছবে আছে খয়
এই যে বিষম পিরিতি পিরি
টিপিরি পিশয়
বন্ধ মনের তালা
যাবে আছে খোল
চিরদিন রেখো মনে
ইপিরিটি
বন্ধু তোমার কাছে
ইমিনটি
চিরদিন রেখো মনে
ইপিরিটি
বন্ধু তোমার কাছে
ইমিনটি
আমি যতকুল মানি না লোক লাজ বুঝি না শুধু জানি একদিন আসবে গো সই তাই তো পথ পানে চেয়ে রই পিরিতি পিরিতি পিরিতি
ইপিরিটি শয়
বন্ধ মনের তালা
যাবে আছে খোল
এই যে বিষম পিরিতি পিরিতি
ইপিরিটি শয়
বন্ধ মনের তালা
যাবে আছে খোল
চাবি নিয়ে মন বন্ধু থাকো দূরে উথালি পাথালি মন পথ চেয়ে রই রই এই যে বিষম পিরিতি পিরিতি
ইপিরিটি শয়
বন্ধ মনের তালা
যাবে আছে খোল
এই যে বিষম পিরিতি পিরিতি
ইপিরিটি শয়
বন্ধ মনের তালা
যাবে আছে খোল
পিরিতি 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 পিরিতি
Whoa! Fantastic. Wow. You guys rock.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And you've got a new friend with you tonight. Tell us who you.
Yes.
Who,
So this is our friend Arzeen. He's all the way from Bangladesh, the Bengali sensation, and we just love him. He sings with us. He sings. Arzeen, you sing. Yes, he's got music coming out. Yes.
Yes, I'm glad. Like I've been playing with them, and thanks for this platform. It's amazing. And yes, I do sing Bengali song, and I'm so glad to perform with them as well. Arzeen.
And this song, Piriti means love.
well, you guys do it with a lot of love. Now, we're going to hear from them again later on tonight. But just a reminder that if you want to learn all things Mystical Joyride, it's their website. It's their name, mysticaljoyride.com. And you guys hey, it's finally happening. Live shows are coming back. And you got something coming up at the Mint in Los Angeles, yeah?
Yes, this Monday at the Mint, we're playing at Honey Pot Live. Arzeen's going to be performing with us as well. So it's a free show in LA, all ages. We play around 8:30. So come on out if you can.
And a reminder, everybody, that they're going to be at the Soul Play Festival. And many of you, of course, saw us when we had the big Soul Play collaboration. I'll be at Soul Play teaching. And so that's going to be fun. Hey, I also wanted to take a moment to just let people know a little bit more about Arzeen. Arzeen, you've got an album that we can find on Bandcamp. Just go to Bandcamp and put in his name, Arzeen, Arzeen, and tell us about your album.
So I have been writing songs actually for a long time, but the first time I'm actually putting my album. It's like it has 8 songs, and I composed, and with the help of my friends, it's finally out now. Yes.
Oh, congratulations. Does it feel like giving birth to a baby?
Yes, kind of. Yes, actually. I'm very excited about that.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. Great to have you guys with us. Stick around. We've got a really fun show, and we'll see you in about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yes, thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. I get to introduce our first speaker. And again, you're going to get a chance to meet several wonderful coaches tonight. And so each coach is going to give, a short presentation about what's alive for them. And then they're going to come back and we're going to do a roundtable kind of Q&A. And that's when we can answer relationship questions. So again, whether you're watching on Facebook, you see me look down, I'm looking at Facebook, or whether you're in our Zoom room, start giving us what your questions might be about relationship. And our first presenter that we're going to have, and she's back. We've had her on the Awakening World a few times now. This is Rica Briones. She's a big part of RelationFlix, and she's the writer of the Sacred Prostitute Chronicles. She's a facilitator of women's sexual empowerment workshops, and she's a self-pleasure shaman. Let's just breathe that in for a minute, all right? And how powerful. You know, she talks about so many of the things that have been taboo for way too long. And she brings this beautiful understanding of our current culture, but she also has a shamanic side. And that comes from her native indigenous wisdom as a Yaqui and medium. She has a focus to be an advocate, to use self-pleasure as a ceremony. You know, it's so important for us to learn to love ourselves and to even self-pleasure, and there's so much shame in our world around that. One of the things I love about Rica is her ability to help people very compassionately confront the shame they may have grown up with and to transcend it. So thank you, Rica, for being with us.
Thank you, Scott. That introduction warms up my heart, and I speak for the women and men that have been silenced and have not had permission to talk about sexuality. And there's a common buzzword, and that is block chakra. And every time I think about that, it's really about the inability to talk about the taboo. So for me, when it came to my sexual abuse, like most little girls and boys, it's either the parent will believe you or the parent will not believe you. And in my case, when I shared my truth with my mother about my abuse, I felt free. I felt pleasure. I felt pleasure to talk about what was happening. And for most of us who have not had that relationship, my biggest relationship is shame. Being in relationship to shame is actually one of the segments I teach on the RelationFlix platform. While I am here to talk about sexual confidence, I'm really here to unpack the sexual narrative. And actually, it was through writing my Sacred Prostitute Chronicles where I discovered what pleasure is about. And I want to share that for me, writing has been my form of pleasure. And I was told by a lot of teachers, you will never go to college. That was like my English teacher in my ear. She would tell me, you will never be this. And the truth is, I believe that that was shame. That was the expectation of others. And personally, in order to master conflict, because I know that that was one of the topics for me, in order to master any relationship, I must master that conflict within myself before I attract a partner. And right now my partner's in the living room. I am blessed to know that I can talk about the taboo, and I am accepted, not from my past, but I'm accepted by my love, my generosity, my heart. And, you know, the truth is, you know, I'm still learning. I'm still a student as well as a teacher. And to be a teacher is to also just let go of what you know. To really be a master is to let go of what you know. And even as I come here, I still feel like a student when I come here and I see all these experts. I see Stephen, I see Dolphin. I just see that we get to all connect and really learn how to be in relationships. And I actually have a beautiful quote. I don't know why I want to share it, but I want to share it from my heart. And this is from Simrit, the singer-songwriter Simrit from the Institute Life Force Academy. And I wanted to just give her credit. True prosperity is the wealth of the mind, the heart, and the warmth of the heart. When we are sharing the warmth of the heart with other people, that means we are experiencing that within ourselves. How we interact with other people is called relationship. The relationship is a relay between two people or a group of people. Not only are they dropping their personal agendas to the benefit of everyone, but for the benefit of the relationship, where people are consciously interacting in a way It makes them feel more about themselves and giving a better experience of themselves. A relationship is an experience of giving me an experience of myself. And that is a quote that has taught me that the biggest relationship I have is the one with myself. And so I felt called to read that because I know that the biggest relationship to master is the one with ourselves, especially the one with our emotions. And so I am so grateful to be part of the RelationFlix family. I earlier had a powerful conversation with Dolphin. And again, I think it's so important to have educators and teachers to heal the man-woman relationship, because I know some of us didn't grow up with the best upbringing. I know for me, I learned about conflict through anger and shutting down, and through my own development, accepting my sexual shame and embracing my truth, I became more pleasurable in how I eat, how I make love. And for me, like, pleasure is so powerful, especially when you're able to be intimate with your anger, your wild, your slut. When you're able to really embrace that, you are free. You are truly at peace. And that is a gift that we can all learn. And it's something I'm constantly learning day to day. Like I was told, you're not a speaker. Who are you to do this? I had all these opinions from other people, which is actually one of my shadows and gene keys. One of my shadows and gene keys is the shadow of opinion. And once I transmute that, I will have the gift or siddha of omniscience. And so once I'm able to go within and heal the voices of others, I can really be there for people and really just hold space for people. And so thank you so much, Scott. I see Stephen and so many of you want to just connect and play with. I just like see everyone. I just want to play with all of you.
Two things. Stick around for a minute. First of all, I want to right away share with you, Doug, who's watching on Unified, just wrote, "Thank you. I am a survivor of sexual abuse, and it is absolutely necessary to let the emotional tears out. And so, thank you." And I want to ask you a question. When you're working with someone, obviously most of us have buried our deeper shame stories. And so what would be a tip for a first step to excavate maybe what we've buried that we're afraid to look at, especially as it relates to our shame?
So the first step is self-forgiveness. And one of the steps I learned from like a teacher was to actually embrace your anger. And it sounds unorthodox, but anger was actually the pathway to forgiveness, specifically with myself. When I first experienced shame, I didn't have teachers, I didn't have mentors, but I knew that there was a soul calling within myself when I recognized that I was always on edge. And I told myself, I am not happy with this. I get to be angry and I get to release it. And once I'm able to release that anger and that resentment, then I can move on the journey to forgive, to accept. And I'm in relationship where when I think about my abuser, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the past. I'm grateful because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be the compassionate woman who feels fully sovereign in her expression. And so I'm always grateful for the past. And so if anyone is feeling like, how can I release shame? Allow yourself to grieve, allow yourself to feel any emotions that are coming up, and find a safe space, find a community that will accept you. I still have family members that still don't accept me. I still have lost tons of friends and family because of my truth. But that doesn't mean that I'm unlovable. That doesn't mean that I'm unworthy. If anything, I found my community. I found people who accepted me. I found this beautiful community called Global peace tribe, and the RelationFlix family is incredible. I again want to just like shout out RelationFlix, because they are such a beautiful community that have values to really teach this to other people. And that's my answer.
I'm bringing, no, that's beautiful. I'm actually just bringing Stephen and Dolphin on since you are acknowledging them, and I'll bring myself on for a quick second too, because you brought up something that's really important. So often in life, maybe the family we grew up with, or a particular set of friends that we've been with, when we are ready to follow our soul's calling to move forward, to break out of a box, oftentimes we are shamed. And that, of course, happens a lot in family dynamics where, the family is hiding the alcoholism or the sexual abuse or the incest or the deep, dark family secrets. And the person who does what Rica is doing, which is saying, hey, we have to talk about this, often is shamed and castigated and has to leave that family. But there's always another family. It may take a while to find them, but there is always another family that will embrace and say, hey, yes, let's talk about this together. So, thank you for bringing that up, because it is a painfully common part of life.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. And I think that while one of my segments on the platform is sexual confidence, part of getting to the place of sexual confidence is acceptance, it's courage, it's willingness, and forgiveness. Forgiveness has been my mantra throughout this whole journey as a little girl. Giving back more love to myself, and always telling myself it is not your fault. Like having that conversation with my inner child, like this is not your fault. And for me, one of the biggest processes is like inner childhood work, placing your hand in your heart. So if anyone is watching, place your hand in your heart and just talk to your inner child. Say, I love you. I'm here for you. It's okay. It's okay. I love you. I got you. I got you. And really speak to that inner child. Anytime I'm having a breakdown, I just place my hand in my heart and I just talk to the inner child. And it's actually one of my Tantra practices, is just really connecting with that inner child and comforting. Your partner can't do that for you, your mom, your brother. But what matters is that you get to be that advocate for yourself. You get to be that ancestor for yourself.
Thank you so much. So much wisdom. And, it's interesting. She talks about finding our voice. Well, guess what? She has an offering that I think is going to be of value to a lot of people watching. Let's start by going to her website. And her website is her name, Rica Briones, spelled Erikaa. There's 2 A's in her first name. And then her last name is spelled Briones. So then when you go to her website and you enter her site, there's a lot there. I follow her on Facebook, and she's always got amazing stories, so definitely want to follow her. And then she's got a course that she is going to be leading, which is all about finding our voice. Look at this woman who, despite what for many people would be a very difficult childhood, she has found her voice. And you're going to help other people do that. So tell us about your Embodied Voice workshop, the 5-day challenge.
Thank you so much. I am so excited. I'm like so passionate about this challenge. We already have 77 members signing up to this course, and it's really a discovery of your authenticity. So voice is a lot to do with accepting who you are, letting go of the shy programming, that conditioning. And trust me, like you asked me 2 years ago to come here, I would say, that's not going to happen. My fear was holding me back. And that was really connected to trauma. So I'm so excited to be facilitating this. We have bonus speakers. Yulia Rose is one of my great friends, soul sister. She's going to be doing a throat activation meditation. We're going to be doing some EFT. And then of course, on day 5, we're going to have a talent show. So if you're like feeling that this is exciting and it's scary, I am going to be guiding you in a very gentle process. You're not alone. So if you're feeling like you're shy, there's going to be other shy women sharing their gifts. And even if you're scared of the word talent show, because someone brought this up to my attention, what if your talent is just sharing your story? What if your talent is just pressing play and saying, I'm scared to be here, but here I am showing up? Your talent can just simply using your voice. And I will tell you that even for me, it's a stretch. I'm going to be doing a rap. So it's going to be exciting. We get to release shame. We get to release fears, and it's an exciting project. So anyone who joins, it's free. You get tons of support, and that is the free challenge.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much, Rica. You are such an inspiration.
Yes. Also, it starts May 25th through the 29th. There's also going to be bonus videos from experts, and it's going to be available until June 31st.
And so people just go into your website and give you email address and name, and that's how they sign up, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, it's nice and easy. Rica, thank you so much for your wisdom, and I think you'll be back for our roundtable chat at the end, yeah?
Yes.
Great. All right. Well, we are going to go from isn't she a powerhouse? We're going to go from one woman to another. And I am so grateful when I asked Michaela, you've seen her on our shows before. And I said, it'd be great to have you on this show because you have such an understanding of relationships. She does so much wonderful work in the world. And she is an active person. She is an activist. She's an actress. She's an award-winning singer. She is the executive director and founder of the International Cultural Arts and Healing Sciences Institute. She is absolutely making the world a better place. So, Michaela, thank you for being with us, and I'm eager to hear what you'd like to share with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Scott. And I have to just say, first of all peace begins with forgiveness. Erica, you are the fierceness, being your full sovereign self, yes to authentic expression and fullest freedom and integrated integrity. It was just beautiful to hear you speak. And with that, I say, Ashumbe Oya, Ashumbe Oya, Ashumbe Oya. We bring peace to you, oh Mama. We bring peace to you through the sweat beads of your labor. We bring peace to you. Though they tried to take your dignity, and their faces they did not show, we bring peace to you. We bring peace to you. We bring peace to you, oh Baba. We bring peace to you. In your darkest hour of morning, we bring peace to you. As you cry for your children and the love they long to know, we bring peace to you. We bring peace to you. Blessings, my beautiful family. As always, it is such an honor to be with you all here tonight as we celebrate life and love and sound and the reconnection to our connection. And as I offer you and your ancestors' highest praises, I would love to sit with the question with each of you. How are we living into our blessings and value ourselves and our relationships? How do we value our commitment to our family, be they furry or feathered or skinned or scaled? How are we living into being our best self? By being fair and honest, by being equal and in balance, in harmony, in gratitude. Where in our bodies do we hold peace, accountability, responsibility, respectability, and with whom do we share our most vulnerable parts? For what is freedom? What is right? As we watch with open eyes and wounded hearts at what is happening around the globe and wonder when and where and how will it all change or shift or become inclusive and loving and whole? How can we forgive and move into healing? It is a question that requires more than an abstract cerebral reasoning. It requires the opening of our kaleidoscope diamond mind to embrace all the parts of all of our kin, homatakiasin, and move from the who, what, when, where, and how into the why. Why is it imperative for us all to heal all of our relations? Why is it critical for us to move with faith into the miasma of wonder and radical imagination and simply be beyond by believing? Believing in the goodness in ourselves and in others, in seeing things seen and unseen, and believing these things and all the ways that shape and move us in ways we do not know how. How does gravitation exist? I mean, really, how does a seed wake up, find light, sprout, and grow? How does the mycelial network beneath our feet weave the world into oneness? We know not, yet we believe. For those of you who have heard me speak before, you have heard me tell the tale of when I was murdered in a hate crime where I died and came back. And during that healing process, I had to learn to not only heal my body, heart, and mind and spirit, but how to believe and heal my believing into right relationships with love and peace and forgiveness and understanding. After that hateful incident, I decided to be someone who went around the world as a cultural arts ambassador for the State Department and Foreign Services Institute, working with refugees and jeopardized populations, primarily children who are at risk and families that have been traumatized by war. And years ago, when I was in Palestine, I was asked to be the celebrity international judge for the first Palestinian Idol ever. And when I arrived, one of the contestants was this young refugee girl who pushed her way past all the TV cameras and microphones and reporters and interviewers and grabbed my hand and pulled me alone into this alleyway. And now I followed her because she was so little and so brave to do this. I thought there's no way I'm not going to go with her and honor her in this moment. And when we got to that spot, she told me in her best broken English that she wrote the song for me to please take back to America and sing to the president and all of the people here so that we could find love in our hearts to help all of them there in need. And the song that she wrote went like this. We are the children of Palestine. We are the children of the Holy Land. We are living in poverty in the villages, towns, and big cities. We seek change, not charity. We seek change, not charity. If food, shelter, and playing in school is not for me, only for you, then what is freedom? What is right? And that question has stayed with me all these years later. What is freedom? What is right? Is righteous freedom simply the ability to walk around without war exploding all around us? Yes, and righteous freedom is also the ability to choose to be loving, kind, present, awake, and aware of all living beings around you that want to be in right alignment and relation with you, with me, with us. Are we willing to take the risk to open ourselves up to the possibility of true love and complete peace, to love and honor the highest part of you, and hope that you will love and honor the highest part of me? For we are all connected and in an extraordinary moment in time, oh best beloved. Yes, we are. A time when we need to muster all of our strength, corral all our community, and call on all of our ancestors, because we are in a time when the medicine from the plant spirits and animal spirits and all of the elemental spirits, orishas, devas, or whatever name you wish to call these celestial beings that surround us, we must all come forth and stand in witness and in action to our powerful present hour now. Yes, my beautiful, darling, and empowered family, we are in a time where we not only can make a difference, we must bring peace. We must be peace. We must bring joy, and we must be joy. We must bring love, and we must be love. And to know that we are truly one with the universe, one with the river that is flowing, flowing and flowing, the river. She is flowing down to the sea. Oh, mother, carry me, your child I'll always be. Oh, oh, mother, carry me down to the sea. Remember, the earth is our mother. We must take care of her. You are our family, and we must take care of each other. I am you, and you are me, and we are one. And that is how we stay in right relationship with ourselves and the world. Ashe, Aho, Amen.
Oh, Michaela, I wish everyone in the world could just listen to what you have to say. Your messages, and you delivered with so much love and compassion. And, this show's going to go late, everybody, because I just can't cut people off. There's too much to go on. And there's a really interesting question that came in on Unify in response to something you sang. And the question is, how can the cursed receive peace? Interesting question. But I'm going to throw that one at you, and thank you for...
Yes. Yeah. And I appreciate that question, and I do believe that there's no such thing as the cursed. I believe that we all are blessed. We all are children of the great, beautiful universe. There's nothing in this entire universe that is cursed, unlucky, unloved, not blessed, nothing. And so that is how we come into right relationship. We must believe, yes, mystical Joyride, I see the clapping, because that is the realness. Nothing in this universe, nothing is not fiercely imbued with the power of creation and the beauty of life itself. We must believe that at all times.
Yes.
Hey, drop that mic. Boom, boom, boom.
But there it is. It's and I've worked with people who believed that they were cursed, and it is a let go of that attachment to that belief system.
That ancient story that does not serve. Yeah. Just what Erica was talking about. Release, relate, re-relate. Relationship with oneself is the strongest relatingship that we must begin with. Otherwise, if we stay shrouded in this disbelief, we will never have anything but dis-ease, disrepair, disconnection, all of those things that don't allow us to be in alignment. So let us consider, be one with the stars. Con means with, sitter means with the stars. Let us consider that we are all stardust. We are all golden, and we all are of the garden. There is nothing not sacred about any of those things.
Thank you so much. I want to tell people how you can get a hold of this magnificent woman. She, I mentioned at the beginning that she has helped to create the International Cultural Arts and Healing Sciences Institute, which you can find on Facebook. We're putting that link into the chat box. Thank you, Debbie Johnston. Michaela, tell us about the ICAHSI.
Well, I also want to add in that you all can also reach me on Michaela at either, Facebook, or it's michaela@gmail.com if you want to just do a shout out. Definitely love to connect with this beautiful community. And Ikasi, like I told you before, was created after this accident where it was not an accident. I was actually reminded that it's an incident, and it was a hate crime, and they tried to murder me. And so from that, I wanted to be the phoenix that rose into a place of creating something where love around the world could be felt. And so this institute brings together artists and healers, and we go out into different communities and work primarily with refugee children, and bring drums and songs, and we make noise and we play and we reignite and try and be love and joy, and bring some semblance of peace, even in places that are war torn and find it hard to find that again.
Just all take a breath. I want us just to breathe in the medicine of Michaela.
Thank you so much, Baba Scott. That is so beautiful. And actually, the program is called Music as Medicine. And I believe that you carry that with you when you bring these shows and these fantastic speakers and artists together and this beautiful community. Thank you for doing this work and creating this outlet with such grace. And it's so next level. Thank you, my brother, truly.
Thank you, Michaela. It's always a joy to have you with us.
Yes. Ashe. Thank you, Baba.
That's actually a segue. I just want to invite everybody. We are just now starting our spring season. Spring for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. Winter for those friends that are down under. And please register. Go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and register for our new season. And you're going to get the links to all of our shows. We are going to be with you every Friday night, every Saturday night, and every Sunday morning. I've already picked themes for the next couple of months. We've got remarkable presenters coming with us. We're going to have Matt Kahn, Neil Donald Walsh, Reverend Michael Beckwith, Marianne Williamson, Greg Braden are all coming back live to be with us. And those are like the famous oldies. But look at all the next generation, like Michaela and Rica. And honestly, it's like those are the people I get most excited about. So yes, we're going to have some of our favorite previous generation luminaries, but it's the next generation that you're going to meet and find through RelationFlix, through the Global Peace Tribe. Bands like Mystical Journey. Everyone needs to know about Mystical Journey and Michaela and Rica and everybody else that you're going to see tonight. So you can help support us just by going to globalpeacetribe.com and registering. And yes, we do ask for a donation. You can register for as little as $15 for all 3 months. You get the links. And of course, if you want to register at a higher amount, we sure do appreciate that. And we are working really hard to bring you all these amazing luminaries every Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday morning, plus special events. Quite often people will come along and they'll say, hey, Scott, can you host this, or can we promote that? And we do that. So your support is really, really appreciated. So thank you so much. Speaking of artists that everybody needs to know about, you're going to get to hear Tatiana Speed really, really soon. So stick around. She's going to be with us. And we've got some wonderful next generation. But I get to introduce somebody that is a baby boomer. I'm a baby boomer. And I know that a lot of our audience watching are baby boomers. So God bless us. Remember, we the boomers are changing everything as we move through it. And one of the people that's dedicated to that is my good friend Paul Sterling. And Paul, of course, is the best-selling author of Argue Less, Love More. He's a big part of Love Coach Academy. He does shows every Thursday night and Sunday night online. You can catch wisdom from Paul, and you're going to catch some wisdom from him right now. Take it away, brother.
Scott, I so want to thank you because having been your roommate for over a year now, I know how much goes into these shows. People get to see you for this hour or a couple hours, but almost every day of the week, you're finding new guests and hosting this stuff. And it's like, this is such an act of love, and it's such a huge commitment. These shows don't just happen by themselves. The same way for Stephen and Dolphin with RelationFlix, that didn't just happen by itself. There's been, at this point, probably years of planning and building. So love, the Beatles were wrong. I hate to say this in this group. Love isn't all you need. You need skills, you need tools. Esther Perel, who's a great relationship coach and therapist, best-selling author, says the quality of your relationships based on the quality of your communication. And what I added to that in my talk tonight is, when your communication falls apart, so does your relationship. And there are 4 key areas to look at here that create the biggest problems. And number 1 is my partner doesn't listen. So find which one resonates with you as you're listening to this. But number 1, my partner doesn't listen. Number 2, my partner's not willing to talk. Number 3 is, when we talk, we trigger each other, and both of us shut down and our reptile brains come out. And number 4 is, we don't know how to recognize when we're triggered, how to recover from triggers, and then how to repair the relationship. So I've been teaching this stuff for over 25 years, studied with Marshall Rosenberg and Tony Robbins, Byron Katie, just a whole list of people. But what I want to do is give people a story tonight of one of my clients. And this is an interesting story about how these tools can be used in the most interesting of spaces. He was flying from Milan to Miami, and he happened to be the captain of a 777, one of the biggest flying machines we have, which has a payload of between 500 and 650,000 pounds. So here he is flying this jet, lands it in Miami. They're going up to the gateway, and he hears some upset happening in first class. And he gets the plane parked, and somebody's pounding on the door to the cockpit. And one of the stewardesses says, "You got to come back here. One of our first class clients is freaking out." And so he gets himself situated, co-pilot taking care of everything else. He turns around, he walks back there, and he's going, he told me this later, he goes, "What would Paul say? What would Paul say? What would Paul say?" And if you think about it, the person was upset. And we communicate from our head, we communicate from our heart, and we communicate from our hurt. And this person was triggered, and they were in their reptile brain. Now, as captain, he had the power and authority. He could have called TSA. This person could have been taken off in handcuffs or put on the no-flight list or all sorts of different things. But when he got back to her, this woman, he looked at her and he said, "Excuse me, what do you need to feel safe right now?" I just want that to settle in. What do you need to feel safe right now? And this woman just, you could tell the whole energy said in first class, because everybody was upset. And they were worried, what's the captain going to do? How is he going to handle this? Is he going to use force? Is he going to try to dominate? Instead, he just asked that simple question: what do you need to feel safe right now? And say it to yourself, like, take a second, because that's what we all want. We want to know that we matter. We want to know that our needs matter. And she reached out and grabbed his arm gently, but said, "I just need to feel secure." He said, I got you. And he took her all the way to customs. Now, he says that he has gotten more letters in this short time since he's been applying sort of the nonviolent communication, the compassionate communication principles on his jets. He's gotten letters from the stewardess and the stewards and from passengers that flying on his airplane is a different experience. So I want you to think about that, how different experience you can be in your relationship. How can you transform the way you interact with the people you love to create a safe space. Because the reason that someone's not going to talk to you is because either with you or with somebody else, what they've said in the past has been used against them, to like, so why would I talk if I think everything I say is going to be used against me? And the other side of that, and Dolphin kind of talked about this a little earlier, but why won't I listen to you is if I'm afraid that what you say is going to feel like an attack on me or a punishment of me. So I'm going to defend myself by not listening, or I'm going to defend myself by not speaking. So these are some of the principles, and it's easy. Well, actually, no, sorry, wrong thing. It's simple, not easy. When we get triggered, we have a choice. We can either respond or react. Here's the thing about reaction. And I watch it. I watch it in the thread tonight. I've watched it, in the communication. When we go into reaction, we think that there's only one of two choices. When we're in reaction, it's either dominate or be dominated. Look at Facebook right now, the communication, look at politics right now, the communication that's happening. We have a hard time working across the aisle, whatever that aisle is, whether that's the aisle in politics, whether that's the aisle in our neighborhood with our partner. And these principles I have taught, and I was lucky enough to study with Marshall Rosenberg, the creator of nonviolent communication. And I took the principles he taught me, my interpretation of them, and I taught him in prison for 8.5 years, to anywhere from minimum to maximum security, and tested him there and tested him with at-risk youth and teenagers. And it was transformational. I had some teenagers come to me and say, Paul, if I just realized that my mother has feelings and needs. I never knew that she had feelings and needs. And sometimes parents try to be so stoic. And I had one maximum security inmate. He was leaving, and this is the second day of my course with them. And I can see him, and he gets right back here, and he stops, and he starts backing up. And, when I'm in prison or jail teaching this course, I'm pretty hyper vigilant. So when somebody's backing up towards me, I was like, my little spider sense goes. And he stops right alongside me. He looks at me and goes, Paul, if I had learned this stuff in high school, I wouldn't have spent 20 years in prison. If I had learned this stuff in high school, I wouldn't have spent 20 years in prison. And what we have to realize is that everybody out there is really doing the best they can with the tools they have. And that's why I love what Scott does, what Stephen and Dolphin are doing, and my fellow coaches. Is what we're trying to do is give people better tools. Like if you give somebody a nail and a rock and a hammer and say, which one do you want to use? Well, almost everybody will pick up the hammer. But if they don't have a hammer, they're going to use the rock. And that's what happens a lot of times in communication. We're using rocks on each other versus something that's elegant and enrolling and compassionate and connecting. So that's about it for now, Scott. There's so much more to teach, but.
Well, thank you. And a reminder again that he does shows every Thursday and every Sunday. And believe me, I do know what it's like to put together shows. And his shows are very interactive. So it's a great opportunity to get, direct coaching with him. And then also go to his website. And his website is the name of his book, ArgueLessLoveMore.net. And when you go there, he's got all sorts of good stuff, of course, all the testimonials. But click on watch video, and when that happens, you get a chance to just put in your name and your email address and your phone, submit it, and you're going to get a free copy of the book sent straight to you. So thank you, Paul. That's a great, and thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your dedication. I live with you. We live together. And he's so dedicated. He's there working with people all day, all night. supporting people, saving the world, one relationship at a time.
Absolutely. Thanks,
All right.
Scott.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you in a few minutes. We're going to do, again, a reminder, we're going to have a big kind of Q&A period with all of our coaches at the end of the show. So get us your questions. Okay, you heard me talking about the next generation. And Tatiana is a great example of that. And in introducing her, I want to acknowledge that there's an interesting experience that we see in humanity. And it's when life's circumstances take place in such a way that a person goes deep, deep, deep within, maybe for years. Moses cast out of Egypt and out in the desert for 7 years, where he attained whatever knowledge he needed to come back and lead his people. Jesus, who, basically disappeared from age 12 to age 30. Well, you're in good company, Tatiana. I hope you don't mind me putting you in the same with Jesus and with Moses, but she went into a period of deep isolation for many years and is just coming out, and she's coming out with music and wisdom through her music. Obviously, she has a tremendous artistry that you'll see, but she also has a real understanding of the human condition and the human experience that comes through in her words and in her music. So welcome back to our world. We have missed you and we need you. And we're grateful to have you on Global Peace Tribe.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott. It's such a joy to be back and in this community and just to see and hear these incredible speakers. Like, I am just inspired over here and lit up, and I'm feeling catalyzed and just really in awe of this community. And yeah, I did. I took a 6-year pause, meditating in the woods, doing some very deep inner work and transformation from a health crisis. And like Scott said, it's really been my own deepening, my own evolutionary path towards awakening and stepping into being an instrument, hopefully for greater good for this world. And the song I want to share this evening is a new song. I actually have shared it on here once before, and it's the first time it had ever been heard. I wasn't planning on playing this one tonight, but just the speakers and the vibe here this evening is just making me feel like this is the song to share. And yeah, this song shares there's two stories that are presented in this song. One is the story of a refugee, and the other is the story of a soldier. And just like Paul was saying, people can only do the best they can with the tools that they have. And I felt it was important to bring both perspectives together, to embrace them in our humanity, to really be part of my invocation for peace right now. So this song doesn't have a name yet, but it's really my prayer for peace on earth. Oh, and I'll just say that both of these stories were told to me by people in these circumstances, and have given me permission to share them and play them here. So. She tried to hide when the soldiers came, as the bombs fell like rain, and the whole world changed. She lived in a land that once was free. Now she wonders if she'll live till the morning. She holds her children tight and whispers, it'll be all right. She prays they will see the morning light. Grateful for the break of day, she gets on her knees and prays, let there be peace on earth. Oh, na 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 na, hear the voices rising around the world. Na 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 voice is rising. May there be peace on earth, na 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 na. Hear the voice is rising. May there be peace on earth. He never meant to be the one with the gun. He never meant to be so numb. He regrets the things he's done. He wanted to serve, he wanted to be brave, but there's a price that has been paid. Innocence died along the way. Never to question, just obey. He knows deep down he's lost his way. He gets on his knees and prays. Oh, na 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 na. Hear the voices rising around the world. Na 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 na. Hear the voices rising. May there be peace on earth. Na 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 na. Hear the voices rising. May there be peace on earth. May there be peace on earth. May there be peace on earth. Thank you, everybody.
Oh my God, yeah. I hope you see everybody. Go to gallery view for a quick second. Just everybody twinkling, and what a beautiful and sad song. Sad that that is the state that so many people are in. And I do know this song. We talked about it before, but I love that you bring into the consciousness the Russian soldier. You know, I've coached a lot of men that were Vietnam veterans, and similar thing. I mean, they were just kids, and they were in a place they should never have been, doing things that were just not appropriate, and how it's just devastated their lives. And we'd have the same thing. Obviously, the devastation for the people of Ukraine, but also those poor kids that thought that they were on a training exercise, and they were told that they're going to denazify Ukraine, and then they get there and they're getting killed, and they're just seeing that it's their own cousins, that it's so tragic. So thank you for singing to that.
Yeah, truly. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now, don't go away. I want to let people know a little bit about, and she's going to come back and do at least one more song tonight. And maybe we might get a song and a video, actually. But I had it here and then I lost it. Here we go. Two things. She has a lot of good stuff on Instagram, and her name is Tatiana Speed. So if you go to Instagram and put in Tatiana Speed, follow her, and there you go. I will do all of that a little bit later. She also has her website, and I'm going to stop and go back to the website for a moment here. I got so caught up in your song, to be honest, I wasn't ready. It just was like so dropped in with you, so thank you. Her website is her name, TatianaSpeed.com. And so absolutely everybody, subscribe, join her so she can, keep track. Please buy her albums. Let's support our musical artists. It is so important to support people like Tatiana, and your beautiful heart, your beautiful voice, and your beautiful blessing to be with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah. And she's going to be back.
I'll be back.
We got more Tatiana coming. All right. Now, we are collaborating with Stephen and Dolphin. It is a RelationFlix weekend. And so I'm going to there's Dolphin, and I'm going to bring Stephen back up. And I'm going to let them introduce this next speaker. and maybe share with us a little bit more about RelationFlix. We've got a lot of people that have joined us since the early Zoom Room show. So, guys, tell us a little bit about RelationFlix, then introduce Damien, and then we'll go take a look at the website after Damien speaks.
Go ahead, Dolphin.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the RelationFlix platform came to life several years ago. Stephen and I sat down. It was his brainchild. He had a deep passion for relationships and communication and supporting people in finding their way. And when we sat down, it was the kind of coalescing of deep passions of ours. We wanted to bring our work around relationships as well as our love to tell stories and create video and film content. And it was like one of those conversations where as the conversation unfolded, it was like ding, 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 ding. All of these pieces lined up and we were both like, yeah, this is it. And then we've been at it since then to create a platform that brings answers, support, transformation, information to people so they can find and create and sustain the relationships they want. So that's just the snapshot of us and the project. The Damien, the guest that's about to come on, I'll say a couple things and then maybe Stephen can fill in any gaps that I leave. I got a chance to meet Damien sort of at a distance. I got to read his writing and hear a little bit about him and how he likes to work. He's one of those people who's able to weave kind of poetically different information from different sources and bring them together in a way of describing things that provides kind of resolution where there wasn't any, or at least very little. He provides insight where a lot of people have looked and spoken to, but finds a way to bring something new to the insight or something new to the perspective that for me, that's something I love to do. And when I see someone who's really masterful at it, it's like watching a professional athlete or a high level world-class performer do what they do. You just watch and you go, oh yes, like that's it. So that's been my experience of Damien in written form, also in video. And this journey has been one where we get to meet the people that we look and admire from afar. And so he's one of those for me. I've really enjoyed getting to know him better on a more personal level. We have some things in store around RelationFlix. So he will be included in all the ways that we're able to include him that he wants to step into. It's just an absolute pleasure to have him. He's a massive asset to us and to the world. And yeah, Damien, it's great to have you and looking forward to what you have to share.
Yeah, I want to echo what Dolphin said there and just offer some of my praise towards Damien. And there's like this quality of heart-centered, raw realness that I experience with Damien. That's just so refreshing, and I experience as just like untainted by some of the common masks and personas that people can wear. And he just kind of throws himself in the arena, speaks what's true, real, and alive in his heart, and in doing so brings such profound insight to really difficult conversations and relationship dynamics. And yeah, just really appreciating the big gift that you bring there, Damien, and especially the way that I've witnessed you embody and actualize the authentic relating teachings that you bring to the world in such a tangible way. So yeah, it's great to have you on the show, and great to just keep being in the sandbox with you and how we can play together with the RelationFlix project. And so a question that I have for you is in regards to that level of realness, like I experience you as being like really self-attuned and having such an incredible capacity to translate into language. And so if someone wants to cultivate that skill set, yeah, I'm curious what you have to say about that. Like, how can people enter that space of being attuned to what's real for them and having the courage and skills to communicate it?
What an interesting question. I think I want to answer it in like two parts. The first side of that would be like articulation is a skill, the ability to speak kind of what's going on inside of us is a skill that actually anyone can develop. It's not, some people tend to have a natural propensity towards it and a gift towards it, but we can develop that. And I think reading actually is probably the best way to develop that. I was an avid reader. I actually used reading as an escape mechanism for, feeling pain when I was young. So I used reading as a defense. So I read a lot growing up. And that, I think that reading and that experiencing the different ways that people put together thoughts and insights and ideas and prose and everything really, and language as well. When you read fiction, for example, you're reading the way people talk to each other. Really develops that articulation. So that's one side. Now, the other side of that is around the level of self-attunement. So in the model that I work with, I really like to work with what I call domains of reality and learning how to be aware of those domains in ourselves, but also how to hear them in others. And I think of reality as kind of like multidimensional, like even pragmatically, not at a kind of like esoteric spiritual sense, but right now, the fact that we can even communicate is because there's Wi-Fi signals flowing through the air and, this radio, like there's all kinds of layers of reality going on right now. And there's layers going on inside of us as well. So the 4 domains that I really focus on in terms of relating, the 4 most pertinent aspects of relating that I look at are level of sensation. So we have sensation happening inside of our body. Our nervous system kind of plugs into every single aspect of our body. So we can actually feel it. We have massive neural ganglia in our bellies and our hearts and our brain and everywhere else. So we can actually feel a lot of sensation. And that sensation is information. It tells us when we're hungry, but it also tells us other things like when we're in danger or when we're afraid or when we're feeling drawn to someone or close to someone. So that level of sensation and being able to learn how to perceive that and start articulating that. And that's one of the practices we do a lot in what I teach is actually how do I get in touch with my sensation and be able to speak that without conflating it with kind of mental interpretations or even emotional interpretations. So that's the first level. And then we go into another domain. I kind of think of these as holarchically. So they build on top of each other. They add layers to each other. We move into the emotional domain. So these are our feelings. These are our emotional experiences. And I even go even more granular with that. We have kind of raw feelings, which are more on the sensation side. And these are our, sad, mad, glad, our happy, our joy, our fear, our shame, all of these things that are quite raw emotional. And then we have our feelings, which are things like disappointment and, feeling left out and everything, which have a mental interpretation to it. So we have this level. And so we can start to pay attention to what are actually the feelings that I'm experiencing. And then we move into our thought domain, and often in spiritual worlds, we talk about like not being in your mind too much and everything. And I'm like, well, actually, I think we want our mind to be connected to everything else. We don't want to get rid of this. This is an incredible tool. We just don't want it to lead the show. But being able to understand the way that my mind works and look at our own mind and our meaning making. Our mind is meaning making machine. It's constantly making meaning and interpreting and adding analysis to everything. And so understanding that I can watch my meaning making and I can watch the meaning making of another is a tool there as well. And then the last domain that I work with is the domain of the sovereign, or what I call sovereignty, which is kind of that sense of truth that sometimes springs through us. It's like this kind of when we have those moments of deep clarity of like, and it's beyond the mental. It's not something I've thought about. It's just like a knowingness. And I feel like that often kind of runs up through the core. So I'm really interested in how do I perceive that inside of myself, and then also how do I listen, how do I communicate that, and how do I listen through that way in all of these different domains. So I think that kind of answers what you were asking somewhat.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about authentic relating, if you got a little bit of a quick hit on that too.
Sure. Authentic relating to me is it's like a tool set. It's like a toolbox or a toolkit for understanding everything can be learnt. And I get really fascinated by the deconstruction of things into learning chunks. And we do this in a lot of domains, right? We do this for music. I don't play music, but I know if you're a musician, you're going to have to learn chords and timing and strumming and everything. And as you learn it, you start to create mastery, and then you can create freestyle songs, and then you can jam with someone. Relating has the same tools. Like, reality has predictable laws. And if I learn how to relate in a certain way, I will have predictable outcomes. If I was to insult you, it would have some sort of predictable outcome within a scope. Different people are going to respond in a different way, but there is some predictability. If I was to compliment you, it's going to have something else. If I'm going to listen to you deeply, it's going to have an effect. So authentic relating to me is understanding, how does relating actually work? How does it work? What are the tool sets? So I think of this as like expressing, listening, and attuning. And attuning is the understanding of the third entity, the space between us that we create, and how we navigate that. So really, authentic relating is about these set of practices and skill sets that we develop so that we can become more masterful in our communication.
It's first of all, it's great to get to know you. And once again, Dolphin and Stephen have brought in some really cool people. Stephen just asked about authentic relating. And so I know you've got a course coming up. So first off, if people want more of Damien, which I hope that they do, his primary website is evolutionaryrelating.org. I love that title, evolutionaryrelating.org. That's what this show tonight is all about. As we are awakening, we are evolving, we have to evolve the way that we relate to each other. Anyway, if you go to courses and click on relating, the fundamentals of authentic relating is a new course. So Damien, tell us about that.
Well, it's not a new course. It's something that I've actually been teaching for 2 years now. I've taught this 13 times, and I'm about to teach the 14th and 15 rounds of this. So this is a 7-week curriculum, and I basically teach 7 broad skill sets of relating and and a set of practices to master them. So this is with a cohort of people who are diving into the practice, and I have a big library of theory. Every single skill set has a couple of hours of theory behind it. It has all pre-recorded practices and demonstrations and everything. So this is a toolkit for relating.
Wow, and I'm just going to read the modules for those who may not be able to see it. Because each of these are such important things for us to really practice. Embodied relating, reflection. Remember, everybody, that emotional intelligence is all built on the ability to self-reflect. Curiosity, the most important word in the relationship glossary. If we can remain curious. Desire, boundaries, attunement, and then a closing circle. So, and again, just to be clear, when does the course take place? How do people participate?
I am starting this course there's one class on the 11th of April, which is really focused for Australian and Europeans time zone. And there's one starting on the 13th in US. It's the 14th in Australia, and that's really targeted for Americans, but it's also the daytime for Australians. And this is actually the last round that I'm going to be personally teaching this. I'm going to pass it on to facilitators from here on and focus on writing the book and kind of completing this chapter and moving on to other things that I'm really passionate about teaching and diving into.
All right, so last chance to take this course with you. Thank you so much, Damien.
Thanks, Scott.
And please stick around for the Q&A part. I already know some questions are coming in, so it's great to meet you. All right, I'm going to bring up our RelationFlix gentleman one more time. And I actually want to go to the website, and I want to talk a little bit about RelationFlix. Obviously, I've known Stephen since before he began this. I knew him before he even had the idea, and I can remember when he first suggested that he was going to do this. Stephen's pulling it up. Okay, great. So, Stephen, since you've pulled it up, I'm going to let you talk it through. Tell us a little bit about what's on RelationFlix.
Yeah. So as someone who's just a profound relationship and intimacy enthusiast, and being surrounded with such an incredible community of experts like yourself and Paul Sterling and Damien and Dolphin and Jessica Osterday and Erika, and it was just a total no-brainer to enter the video subscription e-course online learning space with a new offering. And it's been 3 years of blood, sweat, and tears, but here we are out the other side through the portal, and our baby is now live and available to the world. And to me, this isn't meant to replace coaching or programs and things like that. What it's meant to do is be really complementary And something that we really aimed to support people with is having an offering that's really accessible. Not everybody has the ability to go to a destination retreat or take a high ticket program or work with a coach or a therapist every week or two. And so we really wanted to build a ridiculously high value, low hanging fruit for people that just delivers tremendous value for a very low price point. And so there's a 14-day free trial. And what that gets you is access behind the curtain, and which is what you're looking at here. And so on the homepage, you'll see a whole bunch of different carousels, one with newest videos, and we're adding new videos all the time. And we have tons of, like, when I look at the content that we have coming down the pipeline, I have this experience of just like, whoa, this is so awesome. Just like objectively, I mean, I might be a little bit biased, but but it's like I look at the content and the way that these incredible facilitators are bringing their magic. I'm just like, yes, it's an amazing product, and it's a beautiful platform. And it's meant to support people all the way across the board from their relationship journey, whether they're single and looking to create something, or they want to amplify something they already have and take it to the next level and build juice and passion and energy in what they already have. If they want to repair, if they're in conflict or in distress, and if they want support in having graceful and easeful relationship closings as well. So we support people all the way across the board, whatever stage of their journey they're on. And just to cherry pick like a few of the videos, they're like one of the most popular videos is exploring women's pleasure, and there's a sensual massage course, and Mike Thomas, who's a brilliant nervous system expert, weaves in a whole bunch of teachings that a lot of you are familiar with: NVC, compassionate communication, with nervous system regulation, and Dolphin with his brilliant trauma healing content, and Paul Sterling, who we all know and love for his relationship framework, sorcery, and wizardry that he does. And there's a beautiful course on sensation play that's like sort of like turns up the heat a little bit if you want to turn up the heat and add some spice to the bedroom, and communication skills and conflict resolution and attachment theory and psychology. There's a personal development section, a relationship tools section that's just like, give me the tool, show me the quick fix, like that kind of a point of view. We can go there if we need help with something very specific. And there's just a beautiful drop-down menu that can help you weave through the content really quickly so you can find exactly what you're looking for. There's a course section where you'll see some familiar faces. We have a course by our beloved Scott Thomas that is just absolutely dynamite, and his course was edited by a pro Hollywood filmmaker. So we have an amazing crew on board. There's attachment theory, and here's where you can find Ariel's Exploring Women's Pleasure, the entire series, and Erika's Increase Your Sexual Confidence series, and Getting Out of Gender Roles, and just a whole plethora of different content. Here's my course, which is my kind of 30,000 foot view on sacred sexuality, the 5 elements of sexuality, and weaving the physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual components of sexuality together for a gorgeously nourishing, holistic practice. And just to put a sticky note on that, we're doing for Scott's Sacred Sundays, how to weave spirituality and sexuality together. So I'll be on the panel discussion for that tomorrow. But yeah, just to kind of drive it all home, there's just a treasure trove of incredible content. You can sign up for a 14-day free trial, and the monthly subscription is, in the grander context of how much it costs to get this type of education, is dirt cheap. So it's just tremendous value for a low price point. And we're adding more offerings into the mix that are just super exciting. We're building in a live broadcasting section of the website shortly, where there's going to be regularly scheduled programs every month, live workshops, very similar to what Scott's doing here with world-renowned experts and speakers, and just a whole bunch of incredible offerings coming down the pipe, like adding things like documentaries and short films and stuff like that are all cooking on the stove. So you're catching us in early days, and it's an honor to be of service to the world in this way.
You guys have done a terrific job. And I want to mention that some of the coaches that aren't on the show tonight or this weekend, but I know them. Mike Thomas has been on our shows a few times. He's terrific. Michael Dyer, Sheza. So you've got just a great group. So good job, you guys. And everybody go sign up. 14 free day trial. You got nothing to lose. Go to RelationFlix.com, RelationFlix.com, and register. And of course, we'll be hearing more from both Stephen and Dolphin. But I think it is time for some music. And Mystical Joyride has been with us. How do you like the show so far, you guys? You're still muted. Ah, there you go. Now we hear you.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Way up here we soar, we fly, we don't give fucks about who we are. I'm in you and you and me, let's let our ego die. I'm the dust and you're the smoke, we're both the air, the fire and earth. Oh, all we speak in light and energy, swim through stars and galaxies, and all together we're just learning how to love. Way up here we soar, we fly, we don't give fucks about who we are. I'm in you and me, let's let our ego die. Let your ego die. Oh, let your ego die. Ooh, let your ego die. Ooh, let your ego die. Oh, let your ego die. Go ahead, let your ego die. Let your ego die. All one. All one. All one. Yeah, yeah. Oh, one, 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 one. Oh, one, 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 one.
you
Thank
guys. You guys.
Thank you.
Both your guitar lick was just so, oh, so soulful.
He's
And of
singing.
course, your vocals and your singing. I can't believe that two people can create that much sound and that it all works so beautifully.
It's all one, baby.
All one. And your message. And your message. What a perfect message for tonight's show. I can't wait to meet you guys in person at Soul Play.
I know,
Yes.
same.
Hey,
Excited.
and let's everybody come to California, come to Lake County, which is where I live.
Soul play, soul play, soul play.
Second weekend of June, we're all going to be at Soul Play Festival, and come and join us. I know some of you have bought tickets, so
And our zine's gonna be with us.
our
Our zine's gonna be
zine.
with us.
All right, perfect. Arzina, I look forward to meeting you as well. And I'm hoping I'm going to invite you guys to come on one more time between now and Soul Play. So we'll figure out a Saturday night. Oh yeah, yeah. Now you guys are just too good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you, and remember, everybody, mysticaljoyride.com is where you
Yes.
find them all out. All right, stick around for the show, you guys.
Thank you.
Ah, wow, what a beautiful evening again. Each person is so special in their own unique way. The music, the presentations. And I get to now introduce somebody who's actually a personal friend of mine, as well as being a brilliant coach. This is Jessica Osterday. And I'm glad your power is back. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I feel like the divine forces that be conspired. I'm so grateful to be here.
There you go.
I'm so I'm so happy to be here, and yeah, it's a joy.
You know, Jessica is a trauma-informed life coach and a brain spotting practitioner. She's been trained in science-based therapies for heart-based healing. Think about that. Science-based therapies for heart-based healing. And I want to speak again from personal, there have been times when I was going through hard stuff, and I know a lot of coaches, I've trained dozens, and Jessica's who I've turned to for personal support, because she's so nurturing, and she also is so wise. So Jessica, tell us about brain spotting and about your work.
I would love to. I'm so honored to be here. And, you know, to be honest, one of the things that I feel so inspired by is seeing people who show up and do their own work. And I think because of my own trauma history and my own life's work and how much bravery it takes to actually do the self-inquiry and the learning and the tools and the integration and just the humility of the whole process. I mean, it really is so phenomenal to me. So when I'm here, or anytime I've seen the shows, but here tonight in particular, I'm really inspired by the depth of each of you that I know, and I believe that I know most of you, because it really just comes through. I think when we show up and we do the deep work and we do the self-inquiry and we show up with that bravery and willingness to be wrong and willingness to learn new things and heal those deep places in ourselves, when, you know, sometimes it feels easier to run away, or sometimes it feels easier to, not that I have ever done this, blame other people, or, you know, drop into a shame hole, or whatever it looks like. You know, we all have these techniques, these tactics that we use until we really learn how to meet ourselves with a sense of grace and compassion. And I see that in you. And I'm really grateful and honored to share space with all of you, because I know what it takes to be here. I know what it takes to, you know, meet in depth. So Yes. Okay. So I'm a trauma-informed life coach. So I see most things through the filter of trauma. So I'll just lead with that. And I love brain spotting because it really does. It's a very practical therapy where we can go in and meet the monsters or meet the parts of ourselves that are hidden. And I really want to come back to that. But one of the things that, so I'm stoked about the RelationFlix platform. I am like excited about the name every single time because I think it's so creative. And what I think is beautiful about it is that we can use that to gain the tools to go deeper with ourselves. And what I like about that is we can learn, one, what we're good at. And I feel like this is a really underrated strategy in self-healing, right? We can really learn what we're good at, what we're thriving at. When we're watching these videos, when we're dropping in, when we're learning something from YouTube, when we're doing these things, we can drop in and see what we're doing right. And I think that goes a really long way. We can give ourselves the credit for the ways that we've shown up in power and in grace and in confidence. And then we can see the things that we're still working on. We're still able to be like a new tool or something, or, you're learning a new process. We're still able to not get triggered too much in the process. And we're able to stay grounded enough and in our bodies to utilize some new tools. And then the third thing is we can really see the ways in which we're still really triggered. And we're still very much meeting ourselves in our humanness and often our partners in humanness and the world in that sense of humanness of like, wow, okay, so this is speaking to me. This is an area of growth. And what I like about this philosophy of walking into any new learning is that it really gives us an opportunity to be curious about what is, and it turns the view from right, wrong to the famed curiosity to where are my edges? How do I move through them? What does that look like? And so I think that, of course, because I work with trauma in so many different ways all day long. So because I work with people with that, obviously that's the lens, but I think it's really important to look at the things, look at those places, those edges where we still have deep growth. And this is really important to me. So I think I spent so much time in the self-growth world thinking that I would like never be okay. Like thinking that I literally was like, that so much shame, because that's like, was my go-to growing up. So much shame that I just thought, oh my God, I'm never, because there was this idea of perfection, right? If I have to be perfect in all of these different areas in order to be lovable, worthy, all of these things. And what I've really found is actually when we can switch the script a little bit, go with it with that sense of curiosity, and then take that bravery of the next step and see, okay, well, where am I reacting really strongly? Like where, we talk a lot about like choice or reaction versus presence in a way. And I think anytime we are going to reaction, it's something to notice, right? It's something to pay attention to. And if we can flip that from looking at ourselves from the shame perspective, because honestly, in all of the people that I have ever worked with, including myself, like, okay, yes, it's good to self-reflect, but we are all human and we're all learning, and we all have something. We all have something, right? So noticing when our body reacts, I think is really important. So I get a lot of clients who've done a tremendous amount of therapy, talk therapy. I primarily focus on HSP, hypersensitive people who are struggling with anxiety. So I get a lot of empaths, I get a lot of super feelers, right? Because I love working with them. And what we see is that when our body goes into that reaction state, what you want to notice is my heart racing? Am I feeling like I need to shut down? Is there a small voice inside that is like, get real small, it's time to run away? Is there a hiding desire? Is there, watch the way the body responds. Do we get very quiet and small? Those are all signs and symptoms of usually a trauma response. And so those are the times when it's very helpful to look at it from a different perspective, right? So there's nothing wrong with you. It's just what your body is doing as a natural course to protect itself. And that is really important information to have, because with that, we can use different tools on how to regulate the nervous system. And if those tools, that research may yield ways to calm the self, but if the self and the body are still responding, it's time to reach out for help. I am a huge advocate for attuned healing, especially when it comes to things in relationships. So attachment styles, anxiety, all of these things. It's just, we are meant to, I believe, heal within a relational frame, especially when we have so much anxiety. Being held in safety through the healing process is really vitally important. So I think it's a beautiful opportunity to, when we are diving into any new level of learning, to really look at it from that curious perspective of kindness and love, and just to look at it for, what is my body doing? How am I responding? How is this informing me? And if we get to that place where we lose neutrality, and I see this a lot, in the type of work I do, people will contact me when they are unable to return to neutrality. So it's normal to have stress, right? It's normal to have like a baseline and then have peaks of stress, but then coming back down to neutrality within, a day or two. Sometimes if it's a really big disruption. But when we're finding that we are not able to return to neutrality quickly, that's a sign to sometimes to reach out for deeper resources along the spectrum of healing the trauma. And Scott, I just want to check with you, because I wasn't paying attention. How much time do I have left?
How much time would you like?
Oh gosh, I mean,
2-3 minutes.
Okay, yeah, no, that's perfect. I love that. Thank you. And so what I do is brain spotting, which is like not a sexy word. Like, it's just not, and it's such a funny way to say it, but it's basically next generation EMDR, which, if you're familiar with trauma healing, what we do is we access the unconscious mind through the visual field. Why that is important is that our limbic system and unconscious mind is where our body has access to old trauma. So what happens is that our neocortex, our thinking mind, our adult mind, the part of ourselves that is our personality and that uses all of the tools and the tricks and the skills, is up here. And it responds to stimulus, like it responds to the outside world about, depending on the study that you read, the 2020, it responds a lot slower than the unconscious mind and the limbic system. The limbic system and the emotional body and the physical body will react much faster than our thinking mind. And so when we come to a place where we don't feel like we're at choice, or we are overreacting to situations that should be within our control, it's usually a sign that the body is coming out of regulation and we might need some extra help. So what we do with brain spotting is we access those trauma points in the brain through the somatic process, through the body, and through interoception. So looking internally at the internal space as we are connecting with the story, as we are connecting to the emotions, and as we are connecting to the body. And it allows for a deeper level of integration within the unconscious mind. So it's considered a bottom-up processing. And I think what most deeply inspires me about the type of work is that I think when we find that sense of bravery, whether it's brain spotting or EMDR or our own tract of learning, when we find that bravery and we go in, it's really incredible what can happen. I think it's a really wonderful thing to open the space for miracles, because in my line of work, I see miracles. I see people being freed from things that have held them back for their entire lives or have been affecting them their entire lives. And it will just change, because I believe that our bodies are made to heal. They're made to come back into regulation. We're made for healthy connection. So thank you so much for this moment to share. I appreciate you so deeply.
Thank you, Jessica. And I love that last thought. I mean, our bodies are made to heal.
Yes.
No one is broken. No one is permanently wounded. No one is cursed. We had that earlier person who asked about being cursed. Um, and sadly, we live in a culture where the pharmaceutical industry wants to convince us that we are sick, that we are broken, that we are wounded. And the body is so remarkable at its ability to heal itself. And with someone like yourself guiding the natural process, guiding the brain to do what the brain knows how to do.
Totally. It's so amazing what people are capable of. Like it's wild. Like I told my client the other day, I'm like, I see miracles all the time. There's no reason why you can't have one. Like, let's just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful what we're capable of.
Oh, Jessica. Well, listen, I want to encourage people to go to Jessica, get a consultation. And so the way to do that is her website is her name, jessicaaosterday.com. Jessica, Osterday, Osterday. And then there you go, you get to see that beautiful face and that beautiful smile and learn a little bit about her. But the most important thing is then click book a consultation and get your free, for heaven's sake, she offers a free 30-minute consultation. And that way you can really check out to see if working with Jessica is right for you. And I'm going to imagine that for many of you, whether it's a long-term trauma you've been carrying or something new, I'm telling you, Jessica can help. I've referred many of my friends. I just referred my best friend to her. So, Jessica,
Thank you, Scott. I love you.
Stick around for Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We've got some really good stuff about to happen. Here we go.
We are one. We are one. We are one. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, 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 oh. We are one. One love. We are one. One love. We are one love, yeah, yeah, one love, one love, one love, one love, one love, one love, one love.
We are one love. I love that song. This is the Global Peace Tribe announcements, and I've got some really important things. So get a piece of paper and a pen, get ready to write things down. First off, I was approached by Lynn Twist, you've seen Lynn on our show, asking me if I would support an organization that is dedicated to raising $1 million for people in Ukraine. The gentleman who's putting it together, his wife is Ukrainian, and so I've agreed to help support it. And I'm actually going to be hosting 1 hour. They're doing these 3 events, and I'm going to be hosting the 2:30 to 5:30. I'm sorry, 2:30 to 3:30 Pacific time hour. And I'm going to invite some of the people you've seen tonight to be on this. It's like a telethon in a sense. Pop it in your calendars, April 9th, 23rd, and 7th. Or you can go to We the People Summit. So that's something that's going on that I'm excited about. I also really want to make sure that all of you come to our Sacred Sunday show tomorrow. Again, we take a topic and we explore it all weekend long. And tomorrow, Sacred Sunday, of course, we're talking about relationship and we're talking about sacred sexuality as a spiritual pathway. Steve Rowland, who you just saw, will be with us. I've brought Shawnree Nato back. She's great. You've seen her on my show before. And also Ariel Brown. Ariel was on the show way back in Saturday Night Live days over a year ago, and she's a really brilliant teacher, very much like everybody that you've seen tonight. So please join us. That's tomorrow morning. The Sacred Sunday show is always 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern. And I also want to remind you, looking out ahead a little bit, on Easter Sunday, there's going to be a very special Mary Magdalene Moonrise Easter celebration. It's put on by Christy Michaels and her tribe. I'll be participating in that. And it's Sunday, April 17th in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So really want to encourage you all to put that down and imagine it as you're making your Easter plans. And I am especially excited to be announcing something that's really important to me, which is I'm offering a course. Before the pandemic, Scott Thomas did 2 or 3, sometimes 4 courses every year. And my courses are always 12 weeks. And it's all about creating community and learning these tools. Now, one of the things that's great about tonight is there's a lot of different ways you can get support. You can get individual coaching from Jessica or from Paul. You can, activate your voice with Rica. You can go to RelationFlix, where they've got all these amazing videos that really answer a lot of questions and teach a lot of tools, and that's a great way to do it. Another way to do it, and I'll be honest, it's more expensive, but it's to work in a community with myself and some of my love coaches, including Jessica, where we study and practice together. It's a 12-week course starting on Saturday morning. It's always Saturday morning, 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern. And then there's a bonus class for people that register early, April 16th. And also, if you register in the next, by Monday night, you'll save 30%, get the early bird fee. There's also an optional empathy practice group. Now, here's the thing about it. I keep it small. I keep it to about 30 participants and then a few love coaches. And we practice together. And it's the best tips, tools, and practices that I've learned in 40 years of studying relationships. I had the good fortune to travel and teach with Marshall Rosenberg, the founder of Nonviolent Communication. I've studied and had lunch with Tony Robbins. I've studied emotional intelligence with Daniel Goleman. There's an advantage to being 66, and that is I've been around the block, and I've had a good chance to really meet and integrate really the best relationship, or several of the best relationship teachers, and then kind of take it and adapt it. I've personally coached over 1,000 couples and many, many thousands of individuals. And so I've constantly taking and tinkering, how can we take this wisdom and make it as simple and practical as possible? So if you're interested in coming into a community, just like I've been building the Global Peace Tribe community, the Awakening World community, well, we're going to create a little 3-month community where we're going to go deep together. We also will have our own private Facebook group, and we'll really be practicing and learning these skills together. So if you're interested, and only if you're sincerely interested, I do offer a free 15-minute consultation by phone or Zoom to talk about it. And I've been pleased because several people that have been watching my shows have reached out to me, and everyone I've spoken to has agreed to do the course. So that feels good. I'm batting 1,000 so far. But it's not about talking anybody into doing it. It's about seeing if this course is really right for you. And there's also an option of adding private coaching, either with myself or with Jessica or with one of our other coaches. And we can talk about that in the consultation. So there you have it. Definitely excited about that. Looking forward to working with some of you in that way. And then the very last thing that I want to bring up and tell people about is for any of you who buy through Amazon, and I recognize that there's a whole political thing to Amazon, and I'm not going to go there. But if you do buy through Amazon, please register so that you are supporting Unify and the Global Peace Tribe. And just go to amazonsmile.com and choose Unify the World as our nonprofit partner. And it adds up. It adds up. And it's a wonderful way to support Unify. And I want to acknowledge all the people watching on Unify. Thousands of people watch this. We get thousands of views. And it's a great way to support us. So there you have it. And thank you very much for being a part of the Global Peace Tribe. And I guess the last thing, I just want to encourage everybody, please share the word about our show. Most everybody because we just started the new season. I've had a lot of people registering. Well over 200 people have registered in the last 24 hours, and I've been trying to read some of the letters and the when you register, as most of you know, there's an opportunity to fill out what you want and how you feel about our work. And it's been really heartwarming to read how important this show is to so many of you. Please tell your friends. Let's grow it out. We are building a long-term, ongoing tribe here, and we will continue to do online shows, and if everything goes well, we will start doing retreats. We certainly are going to do the Soul Play Festival in June, and we're making plans now to do some retreats in Ashland, Oregon, Asheville, North Carolina, San Francisco Bay Area, and San Diego, North County area, and possibly Maui. So join us, get involved, connect, and won't it be fun when we get to actually meet each other in person? That's going to be fun, right? All right. I am going to bring up our coaches, and it is now time for questions. And so here's Steve Rowland, founder of RelationFlix, Paul Sterling, best-selling author, Dolphin, co-founder, Jessica Osterday, the brain spotting queen, Damien from Australia, Rica, and I think Michaela had to go. She had another event. So welcome, coaches, and I'm going to actually put out some questions that have come in. And this is actually a question that came in last night, but it came in again in a different form. And the question is, what is trauma-based therapy? We've heard a lot about trauma and dealing with trauma. What is trauma-based therapy? And the specific question was, what does it mean to be trauma-informed? What does it mean to be trauma-informed? So who would like to tackle that? All right, I'm going to pick Dolphin because I've heard Dolphin's answer on it, and it's really good.
I was waiting because I didn't want to hog the trauma-informed piece, but yeah. So I mean, just to give some context, I worked with at-risk youth for a lot of my early adulthood. Between about 20 and about 30 years old, I was working with at-risk youth in the downtown east side of Vancouver, and more recently here in Edmonton, where I'm based, I spent about 3 years working with homeless youth and young adults. So trauma-informed tends to refer to an approach to working with people that have experienced trauma that includes this growing body of evidence and research and information we have around what does trauma do to the human system on an individual, on a relational, and on a social kind of community level. And can we start to use the information that's there in the research and the best practices to inform how do we create not just what we do with the clients, but how do we set up our environments? What are the spaces like? What's the sound like? Are there things that are there in the space or in our approach to intake or working with clients that might trigger a trauma response? So we're bringing in this heightened awareness and sensitivity and care around what actually happens for someone who's carrying traumatic patterning and mechanisms in their system. Can we take care of those pieces and then approach our work with them in a way that's again informed by what we're now learning more and more about? What is trauma? Where does it come from? How does it land in the nervous system? And what are the most effective approaches to sort of decoupling the kind of more mechanistic response to sensation and stimulus to something that's more like, oh, I'm having an experience. I can feel my body doing what it's doing. I'm still aware. I talk about meta-awareness. Like, can we start to support a meta-awareness of the trigger and the trauma response, and then use all of our information, our interventions, our modalities to help the individual come home to a nervous system that's functional, that's responsive to the real information at hand versus a reaction based on an overprotective defense against what happened in the past that was traumatic. So that would be my snapshot.
Thank you. Anybody else want to add anything to that? Just jump in.
Yeah, just a quick thing. I was surfing in Hawaii, and this guy came at me, and he was obviously a beginner. I said, he's going to turn, he's going to turn, he's going to turn. The last minute, it was obvious he wasn't going to turn. I rolled my surfboard over and his fin broke my hand. Now, for the next 3 months, if someone touched my hand, I went into reaction. 90% of the pain that I felt or more was from the past trauma, not from the present. And so if we look at it, one way of looking at trauma is it's past injuries that are showing up in the present. And my reaction is very disproportionate to the, if somebody tried to shake my hand, I would jerk it away. I might even try to hit them. So that response, that was not a response, that was a reaction. Most of that pain was from a past event, not the current event. And so that's what's happening in a lot of relationships. What we're having is my past pain is interacting with your past pain, and nobody's here now. As Eckhart Tolle talks about, be here now. Now we're being here in the past, and you're in the past, and we have these two pain bodies battling with each other. And to me, that's one way of looking at trauma.
Well, thank you for that, Paul. Thank you. I'm going to put the spotlight on Rica. And actually, after your presentation, Rica, there was a question that came in on one of our Facebook groups. And it was a long thing that a woman wrote about how she was sexually molested by an uncle, and nobody in the family believed her or wanted to hear about it. And she goes back and forth between the part of her that just like, okay, fine, they don't want to hear about it, I'm not going to talk about it to them, to the part of her that feels like, no, this is not fair to suppress it. And so do you have any thoughts about that? She's an adult now, and it happened many, many, many years ago.
Oh, I just have a lot of compassion for any trauma survivor, any sexual abuse survivor who comes out later in their adulthood. And I can't speak for what happens now, but from my personal experience, I still have family members till this day that will still not believe. And what matters is to, again, be an advocate for your inner child. There's a resource which I recommend, and it's called RAINN, RAINN. I'm actually pulling it up right now. It's a National Sexual Assault Hotline. It's 1-800-656-4673. So it's a really powerful resource to use to reach out and get that support. But before you reach out, just know it's not your fault to tell yourself you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. As a woman, like in the chakra system, the root chakra is important to just feel safe in your body physically, and to look around your environment and just make sure that you feel safe wherever you are. So for me, I had to make sure I was in a safe environment to talk to someone. So if that means going to a coffee shop, going to a safe space away from the abuser or away from the family member, that way you can have that conversation in a safe space. And so for me, when I was a little girl, I had to tell my mom, let's go somewhere safe, whether it in the car or a safe space. That was my experience. I did not know about RAINN or these resources, but all I knew was, let me get away from my abuser and just tell myself, no matter what happens, I'm going to feel safe. I have my back. There are resources, and just know that there's tons of coaches here. There is Dolphin, Stephen, Scott. There's so many resources here. You can reach out to me. I'm happy to have a conversation with you, and just hold space for that, because I know it can be scary. And also just know it's not your fault. This is something I tell my clients, this is not happening to me, it's happening for me. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. And never blame yourself. This is not your fault. You're innocent in all of this. And that's the best thing that I can share with you, is that resource RAINN, RAINN. And And hopefully that can support you, and feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook at Rica Briones. And again, my heart opens when I hear people talk about abuse. Every person experiences it differently. Some people avoid it, some people shut down, but the moment that you are aware, that you acknowledge it, is the first step. The moment that you're acknowledging it, and right now, by you just acknowledging it in the chat room or just acknowledging it here, that is a big aha moment. You are courageous, you are willing, and that is the first step to heal, is to just say something. Saying something, using your voice. This is why I'm such an advocate for using your voice, because part of using your voice is not just being courageous, but knowing that this is not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Rica. Thank you. Such important work you're doing, and I just really appreciate you very much. Here's a question that any of you might want to tackle, and it's something I think we all can relate to. How do we manage when there's a family member or someone that we have to be in relationship with who has a radically different idea, whether it's Trump versus Biden, whether it's get vaxxed or not get vaxxed? Now, of course, I'm not looking for us to take a side here, because we don't do that in this show. We're multi-denominational. We respect all belief systems. But the question is, how can we be in our truth and in our integrity while honoring and listening to someone or connecting to someone who has a radically different belief system? And obviously there's a lot of that going on. How do we reduce the polarization? So who would like to tackle that? Stephen.
Yeah, I'll take that one on.
All right.
Yeah. So to speak about that dynamic, I was dating someone recently, and there was a couple points of view that both of us had that were different. And yeah, I just want to say, like, first things first, like, I just have a lot of compassion for the difficulty of being at odds or in a different space or holding a different frequency or a different belief system than someone that we're really close about. And yeah, it can get really swampy and kind of muddy and thick and difficult to move through. And so, yeah, I just want to express my compassion for that dynamic, because it's a very real challenge that we have. And I think, like, it's important to have a finger on the pulse of what's the other person's capacity to meet us in a certain way. Like, to skirt back to what I was saying about the person that I was dating, and we were holding two different experiences about something. There was this beautiful space that we arrived into where, instead of avoiding like a I'm right, you're wrong, or one position is superior over the other, which inherently puts us right into the Cartman drama triangle and stuck in these drama and power dynamics that can play out, which is essentially what I think the question is trying to avoid or mitigate. It's such a beautiful thing when the person that we're engaging with can meet us in a certain place of emotional maturity, and there's create an atmosphere where it's okay to have the perspective that we have and bring it forth in the conversation, even though I disagree with it or they disagree with it. Like, can we hold that inner pillar of strength enough to, at the very least, let the person speaking have room at the table to be heard, to be seen, to be witnessed in what their experience is? And irrespective of us holding two completely different points of view, can that be okay? And sometimes it's like straight up, it can't be okay. And there's some limits and boundaries that need to be put in place there. But I think more often than not, we can avoid those power and drama struggles and actually hold an atmosphere where it's okay that two people have two different perspectives. And by staying out of the paradigm of make wrong and using attack language and managing our discomfort in a way where if we're getting triggered and our field of energy starts to amplify into like a really activated response, like that has an impact as well on the atmosphere. Like if we can manage all those spaces and just have an acknowledgement of like where I'm at, it's valid and it's okay and it's right to be where I'm at. And where you're at, even though I don't agree with it, in this moment, it's okay for you to be at the table with that. And if we can create a culture and an atmosphere and a dynamic, and it's a beautiful space to be. And there's a discernment piece. It's like, does this person have a level of emotional intelligence where they can meet me in that space? And if the answer is no, then it's kind of incumbent on us, assuming that we're the more developed, emotionally intelligent person in the dynamic. It's incumbent on us to be attuned to when we need to set boundaries or not, and set some limits on a conversation. So that's what I would say. It's by no means exhaustive, and there's tons of nuances and different crevices we can dig into there. But that's what I got for you in a quick hit.
It's a great start for a difficult conversation. I think Paul and Damien both have some things to add to it as well. Paul?
Thank you. If you drew a triangle, what I've taught literally around the world, and what I've found is almost everybody, when they're speaking, they want three things. They want to be heard, they want to be understood, and they want to be valued. And there was a great commercial years ago that said, "Can you hear me now?" And so almost all crazy behavior is a desperate attempt to be heard, to be understood, and to be valued. And the challenge we often have in communication, when I look at that, it's we're afraid that understanding equals agreement. And if I understand you when you are, Scott elegantly said, either a vaxxer or a non-vaxxer, Democrat, Republican, if I understand you, it means that I agree with you. And it really doesn't. It means that I get you. And what needs to happen is to create a space where it's out there beyond right and wrong. We're not trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong. We're trying to figure out what your experience was. Oh, and a crazy example of this, just a week ago, somebody called me back on my cell phone and said, "You just called me." Now, he said, "I looked at my caller ID and I just hit return call." Now, in his experience, I had just called him. I looked at my caller ID and I hadn't called anybody. And there's spammers that are out there that are using people's phone numbers. I don't want to get into it, but literally somebody had called his phone number using my phone. So we were both right. And we could have gotten into this intense argument. But I just apologized to him for his experience rather than getting in a conflict. So the whole idea here is being able to enter somebody else's world so deeply that they feel heard, understood, and valued. And if you can do it from your heart, because a lot of people use NVC from the head, they intellectually get it. But if you can get it from your heart, there's a place where you'll go, "Oh, no wonder you're upset. No wonder you, oh." And if you can't get to the no wonder, you haven't really entered their world. And it's not making them right or wrong, but it's like, no wonder you're upset. If I was telling myself that story too, I would do that. And with that, I have another commitment. So Scott, thank you so much for this event, and all of my fellow speakers. Have a great evening.
Paul, thank you so much for your wisdom. And, I just want to follow up on that, riff on it for one quick second. So lots of love to Marshall Rosenberg, who was my teacher, Paul's teacher, and we all are children or grandchildren of Marshall. So, all right, so when there's like that difference, the difference is in our strategies and our thoughts. What's never arguable is what someone is feeling or what they're longing for, what they're needing. It's not arguable. So Democrats and Republicans, Trump is a liar. Biden is terrible. Biden doesn't know this. Trump doesn't. We can argue forever about that. What's not arguable is if someone says, and the reality is, I have a problem with this guy because it doesn't meet my need for honesty. I have a problem with this guy because it doesn't meet my value for efficiency. Now, we can argue forever about the guys, but if honesty is important to me and I'm perceiving dishonesty, it's not even about that person being dishonest or not dishonest. It's about I have a strong value for honesty, or I have a strong value for efficiency, or I have a strong value for respect. And in our personal relationships, even using the example that Paul used, if somebody thinks you just called me, and who are you? Who's this person calling me? And they don't know about scammers. It's not arguable that the person on the other line is upset. We can argue forever about how the call was made or not made, but that person is confused or agitated is not arguable. So we can always understand another person by seeking to understand what are they feeling and what are they needing. What are they feeling? What are they needing? And that is like the foundational piece for us all to remember. I believe Damien has something to add to this conversation. Where are you, Damien? I'm looking for you. There you are.
I think everything was covered so beautifully by all of you. I think there's two little pieces that I want to put in. One is that, the question was framed in if it's someone you have to be in relationship with. And I just want to step back for a second and say it's someone you don't necessarily have to be in relationship with. Say it is someone you're dating or you're getting to know, and you do find fundamental differences of opinion. And I just want to normalize the fact that we don't have to be in connection with everyone. Sometimes I feel like there's a tendency that I need to feel like I'm always smooth and always connected and always on good terms with everyone. And while I think it's true that we want to be amicable with everyone, we get to choose the degree of proximity with most of the people in our life. Do I actually want someone to be really deeply intimate with who has such widely different opinions or perspectives? And maybe not, and just to make that okay, to make that really okay. And then the second piece was just kind of just going on from what you shared, Scott. I think about a hierarchy of values. When we start to kind of step into values, like an increasing umbrella of values, to find the point where we actually are in a shared value space. So for example, the vax or not vax discussion, we might start to go up in values, and we might find that we have a value of consideration and care for others. Okay. But maybe that competes with the value for freedom of choice. Okay. So there are, and that seems to be one of the biggest tensions around this particular discussion. But if we step up above that, we might find that there's a shared value of health. We just have a different orientation around what that health means. And if we can orient from that value set, from that value place, I may be able to be in that kind of common sense of agree to disagree. It's not necessarily the most ideal place to be with if you actually are forming deeply intimate friendships and partnerships. But if they're people in relationships that you kind of have to be, and there's this grinding sticking point, I may be able to alleviate the conflict by not necessarily having to go into the discussion. We don't have to go into the details of this is my choice and this is my choice. We can actually just agree, hopefully come to the point where we can say this is a health discussion. And even though we have different perspectives around health, I want to value your orientation to health in this way. And is it okay to have my orientation to health be valued in this way? So that's just another little addition there.
That's really important. While we've got the spotlight on you, I'm really intrigued by the title for your website, Evolutionary Relationships. So from your perception, I mean, obviously you could talk about this for hours, but do you believe that we as a species are evolving in that way? And what are some of the key points, bullet points, if you will, of what really makes our relating evolutionary?
Thank you. So yeah, it's evolutionary relating, and I think evolutionary relationships is part of it. But for me, it's like relating is what makes relationships. Relating is the verb or the action that creates the noun of relationships. And so it's like, how do we relate in a way that actually fosters our personal evolution and our collective evolution? How do I communicate with you in a way in which we're both being transformed by the nature of our relating? We're being transformed by our connection. So one of the biggest things that I think about is, I have had this urge in me for a long time. And I know so many people who have this urge for like tribe, for community, for being together in some kind of way. There's almost like this telos, or this pull that's pulling us towards, how do we actually connect and come together? And there have been experiments, and I've observed some of the different communities around the world, and I've been with them, and I've seen the challenges that they face. So one of the big orienting perspectives that I think of when we're moving into these evolutionary relating possibilities, and how we're moving as a collective or as a culture, which is probably, a couple of 100 years in the making, but those of us who are kind of trying to pioneer or forge a leading edge are probably coming up against some of these questions right now. And I like to think of it in this phrase where I believe we're moving towards increasing collectives of highly individualized beings. So I think one of the biggest tensions we have to resolve is the tension, the seeming paradox between collectivism, like we're all together, and individualism. And we're in a very individualistic culture in the West right now, where we've highly valued the individual, even though it's not fully individual yet. We still fit into boxes. I'm a teacher, I'm a nurse, I'm a this, I'm a that. We're still kind of lumped in boxes, but there's almost this like incredible urge to deeply individuate. But then at the same time, we have this urge to come together. And we tend to know coming together only from kind of shared interests. You come together with all your surfer buddies, or you come together with all your MVC buddies, or you come together. And so we have like, either we have to be all the same, we have to create homogeneity between us, or we have to be really individual. So resolving that tension is one of the fundamental pieces. And so I really value high individuation. And so for me, that's what we're doing in evolutionary relating or authentic relating work. Is it's like, how can I relate to you in a way that actually illuminates your individual essence in the most brightest possible way, even when it's not the same as mine, even when it's so different than me? And how can I relate in a way that actually illuminates my own individual essence and brings that together? And then how do we bridge that gap between us and create something where we're actually pieces inside of a bigger organismic puzzle, and we're different shaped pieces, but somehow we fit together and we create something better, bigger, more holistic than we can on our own, even though we're individuals. So it's this kind of holonic unfolding.
Muting myself. Beautiful wisdom. Beautiful. Well, I certainly look forward to getting to know you more fully. And we are close to the end. There was a question that came up about boundaries, and I'm just going to tackle that briefly. And then we're going to close out with Tatiana and some music. So Joni, who's watching on Unify, talked about how what we talked about doesn't always work because she has a neighbor that just comes over. Well, listen, setting boundaries is a very important part of compassionate communication. And one of the things that all of us teach is how to set boundaries with compassion. And it's a balance, right? So I'm going to do a really quick version of it. I call it a boundary sandwich. Lead with authentic reassurance that you care. Remember what Paul said? We all want to be cared for. Everybody. Everybody wants to be cared for. So lead with authentic reassurance that you genuinely care. Whatever, notice I'm putting the word authentic in there. So you got to find, what is it about our relationship or this person that I authentically care about? Lead with that. Then you set the boundary. And you explain why you're setting the boundary, which of your needs or values are being met by that boundary. And then the other side of the sandwich is be available to give presence to their reaction. They probably going to be disappointed. They might be angry. They might be hurt. You don't change your boundary, but you acknowledge the impact of your boundary on the other person. which is a way to show care. So you're leading with authentic reassurance that you care, and then you're demonstrating care. And those are the two little sandwich loaf pieces with the boundary in the middle. So that's the short version. And for the longer version and to practice it, take my course or go to RelationFlix and you can get the more in-depth answer there. All right. Thank you very much. I'll bring on Rica had to go and Paul had to go. And we are past the time that I'd asked people, but I am going to bring our coaches that are still with us on for one last time. Jessica, you didn't get a chance to say anything in our little Q&A period here. Is there anything you'd like to riff on?
No, there's nothing. That's it.
Okay, well, your laugh will do the trick.
Yeah, there you go. It's been such a pleasure and joy. I appreciate you all so much.
Oh, I love you too. All right, well, thank you, gentlemen and Jessica. And I'm going to turn it over to Tatiana. And we're actually going to play a video that she created. But Tatiana, why don't you just tell us a little bit about the video and then let me know when you want me to press play.
Sure. And I could do like a more of a backstory share or like a shorter share. Do you have a preference? Because I know you're short on
You
time.
impulse. I trust you.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I really wanted to share a song that could specifically speak to this theme of relationships. And this song, Refuge, is a song I just finished. Actually, just got out of the studio with it. So you are the first people to hear it. And just to share vulnerably, this song was born out of my illness. And my healing journey went through, quite a number of different phases and cycles. But during one cycle, I was going through I was in a lot of pain, and I was deeply confused about what was happening for me, and having very high anxiety. And I would be awake like all night long, struggling with this. And often around 3 or 4 in the morning, I was living with my mom at the time. I would go crawl into bed with her, and this woman would just hold me, all night long. And I just felt so held in the embrace of the mother and connected to this deep love that was, supporting me. And even though I was in a lot of pain and confusion, I just had this sense like everything is going to be okay. And the song Refuge, I wanted to speak to this bitter poignancy of being human. I really could feel kind of the suffering and heartbreak of humanity in this particular cycle that I experienced. And then beneath that, I could just feel this current of love, the love between human beings that can hold us, that can support us, that we come home in each other's eyes. We are healed by each other. It's through our relationships that our traumas are healed. We are resourced, and this life becomes something so beautiful and exquisite and worth living. And I wanted to capture that in this song, and I edited it together with video footage. This is an experiment, but the video I created just weaves together images from a whole bunch of different films, which I really wanted to, just capture the raw poignancy of humanity and this love, this deep, deep love that's holding us all together. And so that's how I'll introduce this song, and I hope you enjoy.
Darling, come and rest here in the silence upon my chest. For so long you have fought this war. Come into my arms, don't fight anymore. When your heart is breaking, spirit's aching, remember how hard you try. I can feel how much you hold inside. Rest in this love and be renewed. Fall into me, that's all you have to do. When your heart is breaking, when your spirit's aching, remember, my love will hold you now. My love enfolds you now. I'll be your refuge, your refuge. I'll hold you. I will hold you so close and keep you warm. I will be your shelter in the storm. A place for your heart to rest in my arms, in my arms. My love will hold you now. My love enfolds you now. I'll be your refuge, your refuge. I'll hold you. I will hold you. I'll hold you.
Oh, Tatiana. I see Connie Baxter Marlowe's wiping tears from her eyes. That's one of our panelists. It was just beautiful.
Thank you for giving me the chance to share that.
Oh my God, it's just, thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
There's something so comforting about the combination of your voice and what you're singing, and being reminded of how much we want to be held. And then seeing all these different images, people of different races, ages, cultures, and just the humanity. There's just this extraordinary human longing to be, again, cared for and held. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like, it's a sense what we're doing in this conversation. These are circles of love, circles where we're coming home to each other, and it's bigger than the individual. It's a collective homecoming that we are walking there together. And yeah, I feel that here with all of you.
I brought Dolphin and Stephen back on. So we're going to roll into the after show in a moment, and we've got John Martin is going to play music, and Tatiana has agreed to stay and play another song live. But there is a question that came in from Dorina on Unify. So Dolphin or Stephen, this is for you. Question: what is your take on platonic relationships? As I'm reading that they are rising. So thoughts about platonic relationship?
Can I just clarify? Is that like a partnership, but in a platonic dynamic?
Dorina, if you can hear it and you can respond, I don't know. I'm just reading to you what she said. By the way, Dorina did just say thank you, Tatiana, for this hauntingly beautiful song, deeply moving video, and true refuge for our hearts. And Jennifer Yoga is asking, where may we purchase this, please? So that's all on Unify. Tatiana, if you can respond to them, where people, or put in the chat box and I'll read to people where people can get it. Tarina says yes to your question, Dolphin.
Yeah, I mean, that it's. I don't know how much I have to say about it. I mean, I could just sort of, off the top of my head, speak. Well, the reason I say that is because, each relationship is its own, and I think what we like to do is we like to bring labels and stamp labels on things and go, this is what this is, or this is how we do this here, and for me, that's not how relationships work. Authentic relationship is always a listening. It's always an attunement to our own inner space, to our own truth, and to what it means to then share that with another, and that can look essentially an infinite number of ways. So what's going on that happens to be happening more often now? I mean, I could guess, but the truth is I think relationships are in a significant state of transition right now. Like, if you think about human culture, where we've evolved as human beings and where we're at now in modern human culture, this way of living in kind of urban centers where we're very packed together, but actually very disconnected from one another, where community isn't a central aspect of our day-to-day lives, that's brand new. And I think we're in a significant state of dysregulation from a historical evolutionary context for relationship. And whatever this modern human culture and whatever it's evolving into is becoming, like, this is all so brand new. And I think everyone is looking for ways to navigate. Everyone's looking for ways to sense make, and everyone's looking for ways to have love and meaningful connection in their lives. And yeah, I think I would leave it there. I don't have much more to say about it.
I'll come in for a moment because I'm having an interesting time in my life. I have not had a romantic, physical, sexual relationship for 2.5 years. And I've never gone that long. I'm one of those guys that I almost always had a girlfriend or a wife. And I definitely miss physical touch. I miss sex. I miss it. I miss having a girlfriend. But I also right now am having a number of amazing platonic love affairs. And there are several wonderful people that I just love and adore them. One of whom I was on the phone with her today, and the moment we got on the phone, I was like, "Oh my God, I love you so much." We've never even met. I met her through the show, Saturday Night Live, but we just adore each other. And she's happily married, and I don't picture ever being sexual with her, but there's so much love. And so it's interesting because right now I am not necessarily fulfilled physically, but I have probably more love in my life than I've ever had, but it's all platonic. So again, just kind of since you happen to ask that, Darina, I'm looking at Darina on Unify. That's kind of my experience right now, which is interesting. And I'm not attached to it staying that way. I definitely, if and when the right gal comes along, I'll be delighted. But for right now, platonic love is what's fulfilling me. Stephen, is there anything you want to add about this?
Yeah, nothing bubbled up for me, so I think I'm just gonna leave it to both Dolphin and yourself's eloquence on it.
All right. Well, I am putting the spotlight on the beautiful John Martin, and we can have platonic love affairs with brothers, and
Right.
this is certainly a brother that I love. Again, I've never met John, but oh my God, his music, his heart, the way he speaks. And John has a very special relationship with our Star family. For those of you who've watched some of our shows on that topic, you've probably seen John. But he plays beautiful guitar, and I invited him to be our featured musical artist in tonight's after show. So welcome, John.
Thank you, Scott, and I love you very much, brother. It's such an honor to be here, and I learned so much every time. I'm sitting back and just absorbing all of this beautiful knowledge and heartfelt emotion is just really lovely. So this is just kind of a celebration of in a meditative form as we all heal.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful, John.
Thanks.
So, since tonight's been all about relationship, and certainly our relationship to human beings is beautiful, and we've talked a lot about that tonight. But you also have a beautiful relationship with that which is not human, not of this world. And I'd love for you to share anything you feel inspired to share about that.
I think it is just an amazing realization that I've come to, that we all are one in the universe. And when we reach out in a beautiful way, as you do through your work, Scott, I can't tell you how important your work is. The universe has acknowledged and honored your work and all the great things that you've done. And when I go out, we speak of you often, and they will interact in beautiful ways because they know what you're doing, and they know what each person here is doing, and it's a lovely realization. And I do it every night, and they are happy to interact with us. They care for us. They want us to be happy. They want us to be loved. They want all of the conflict to end so that we can ascend and be closer to where they are. And that's the kind of the true reason I do this every night, is because I want us all to be in that place of love and understanding and kindness and creativity, and it's just such an honor to be here, Scott, and thank you so much. I love you, brother.
I love you too, John. And what you're modeling for us, I believe, and this is true for everybody, because I think probably all the people watching this show, whether you're watching live, or I want to acknowledge all the people that watch the recording, we all are creating our new paradigm in our own unique way. And I think we all recognize that the old paradigm was just old and we can't continue in that way. I won't go too much into it, but certainly the war in Europe, we're seeing the radical difference between an old paradigm leader, one man who can actually start a war and create so much suffering, versus a new paradigm leader that is remaining compassionate while also bringing and keeping his country together. The contrast between those two men is so remarkable. And all of us, you, John, by playing music and talking to our Great Spirit family, and the people that are watching, whether you're teachers, nurses, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, every time we choose love, every time we demonstrate love, we are creating the new paradigm. Just keep doing it with love, doing it with love. I'll give one more example. I think we've all experienced waiters that do it with love. They bring the food to you and they really want to know how you want it to be made. And are you happy? And do you want it to be different? And what can I do to make your dining experience more wonderful? We've all had that experience, and it's like they're doing it with love, and that is just as important as anything, because they're doing their work, their service with love, and that food tastes a little bit better, and the evening is a little bit more special.
And love, I'm going to stop my video for one moment, Scott. This was the first gift I received from the intelligences, that beautiful heart cloud, and it's love. That was the first and most important message that they've sent, and they've sent it many, many times, that love is everything. Love will carry us to the new world that we all are aspiring to. Everyone's work here is moving us towards that place, and I honor each person here tonight that has done the hard work, because it's difficult.
Yeah.
And it's important.
Connie writes, just trust. The earth is in a higher frequency, and we're being pulled forward into recognizing the love that is all that is. And Ayada writes, Scott, it's such a powerful perspective, the dynamic between an old paradigm leader and a new paradigm leader. It helps very much to view the situation through that lens. Tatiana needs to go. She has promised her landlady to be done by 9 o'clock. So we've got 6 minutes left.
But I say that was the most beautiful piece. I was so taken by that. It was so lovely. Tatiana, thank you.
Oh, thank you so
Tatiana,
much.
meet John. John, meet Tatiana.
Hi,
Because you
Tatiana.
both have such a gentle spirit. Your heart comes through your guitar and your music and your words. You both are long lost soulmates meeting through the Global Peace Tribe.
Lovely.
So wonderful to hear your guitar. I mean, it is just exquisite. It's the sound of peace and love, and my whole body just starts to rest as I'm listening to you. So thank you.
It was a great pleasure. Thank you, Tatiana.
Shall I play a song?
Let's play a song, and then we'll remind people how people can get your music, because people have been asking.
Okay. So this is a love song. I thought that could also suit the theme of today. Yeah, I'll let the song speak for itself. How deep do we go? How far back do we travel? How many times have I known you, my love? How deep do we go? How much would we unravel? How many times have I known you, my love? Through how many seasons, cycles of time? If we looked back, what would we find? I have known you, I would know you no matter your disguise. I have known you, I would know you, I see it in your eyes. My love, my love. How many times have I known you, my love? You are familiar to me in your every motion. How many times have I known you, my love? Our love is as endless as the ocean. How many times have I known you, my love? This knowing goes deeper than our skin. Where do we end? Where do we begin? I have known you, I would know you no matter your disguise. I have known you, I would know you, I see it in your eyes. My love, my love. How many times have I known you, my love? How many times have I known you, my love?
That is such a romantic song. That's the song we all want our beloved to sing to us, yeah?
Yeah, it's that experience of, and I know it's happened to all of us, when you meet someone and you just feel something so familiar, something resonates so deeply in meeting them, and the intimacy can feel so profound. And there's a sense that maybe you've met before. I don't know if it's a past life or just the souls recognizing each other, but that's what I wanted to capture with that.
And that moment, that soul recognition moment, it's probably, if we all think back to some of our greatest moments in life, it's when we've had that experience.
Exactly.
Just a reminder, especially for those of you who want to get her music, the song we just heard, not this one, but the one that had the video, Refuge, will be available in a few weeks. So what you want to do is go to her website, tatianaspeed.com, and just put in your name and your email address and subscribe. And that way you will be able to find out about when she's got, you're going to make announcements, and you kind of send people periodic emails about, for example, Caravan. We had Caravan, the video on one of our previous shows. It's beautiful. And go to her website, tatianaspeed.com. And Tatiana, you'll be back with us on our Earth Day show in a few weeks.
Yes, can't wait. Yes. Thank you so much for having me and introducing me to this incredible community. And it's really fun to see Dolphin again, because I haven't seen him in a while. And
hello,
he's
my friend.
an old friend, and sweet to meet new friends and old friends. And yeah, thank you so much, Scott.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you so much. I think we're going to wrap up. That song is a really good way to close out. So I want to thank Dolphin and RelationFlix. John, thank you for being with us. And thank you everybody for watching, all the people that are still with us on Unify, on Facebook, and in our Zoom room. And I hope to see all of you tomorrow morning for our Sacred Sunday show. And again, it's going to be a beautiful topic. We're going to be looking at how sacred sexuality, what is sacred sexuality really? Not just California hot tub tantra, but real, genuine sacred sexuality. How can we use that as a spiritual pathway? Perfect for the Sacred Sunday show and as a wrap up for our RelationFlix weekend. So I hope to see you all tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful evening, and God's blessings.